Hello, my gluten-free loves. Today we're going to be baking with me. We've got brownies, we've got banana bread, and we've got some cupcakes. So let's get right into it. So the first one we're going to make today is gluten-free brownies. I did originally find this packet in Tesco's. They do have a range of different gluten-free bake with me packs. One of my favourite ones is the chocolate brownie mix. It's super simple to make. So I'm just about to pour the brownie mix into the bowl and start to add all of my ingredients in. So my first ingredient I'm going to add to the mixture is 2 eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and crack them open and put them into the bowl. My next ingredient is some butter softened, so I'm going to put that in the microwave and let it melt down. Now that my butter has fully melted down, I'm going to go ahead and pour it into the mixture and the eggs and mix them together. I am using a spatula to combine all of my ingredients together, but you are free to use a spatula or anything that you would like to use. This recipe is so simple. All I needed was butter and 2 eggs and mix it together. And now that it is all nice and smooth and runny, I can put it into a tray and get it ready to bake in the oven. I am just going to use any baking tray because I don't have any baking paper at the minute, so I'm just going to use some foil. What I tend to use on foil when I'm baking is just a little bit of butter to coat the top of the foil, just so that anything that I'm baking does not stick to the pan or it gets burnt at the bottom. Butter really helps with that, so I'm just going to coat my foil with some butter. Now that everything's mixed together well, I'm going to pour it into my tray so that it's ready to bake. I am going to spread it out evenly because I don't want my brownies to come out half raised and half flat as a rock. So I'm going to mix it all together in the pan and even it out equally. When it comes to baking these brownies, you can choose 2 options. For a gooey brownie, you'll put it in the oven for about 18 to 20 minutes. If you want a firmer and thicker brownie, you'll put it in the oven for about 20 to 24 minutes. For me, I rather the gooey brownie, so I put it in the oven for at least 18 minutes until it was cooked thoroughly, but it still had a little bit of a gooey side to it. After the 18 minutes, my brownies were finally done and they turned out perfect. One side was a little bit thicker than the other, but it was just fine. It tasted absolutely delicious. I did cut it up with a pizza cutter. Do make sure you have something else than that to cut the brownies up with. But they were so nice, so firm and so gooey on the inside. I did cut them up and put them into an airtight container so I could store them and eat them over the next couple days. These brownies were so delicious and so super fun to make, and I'd rate them an 8 out of 10 at least. They were so delicious, and I'd definitely recommend making them yourselves. For the next recipe, we're going to be using this Creative Nature pack, which is banana bread mix. I absolutely love banana bread. It's my favourite snack all time, and Creative Nature do it so perfectly, so this is one of my favourite to go bake with me packs. So first, all I need is 2 bananas, so I'm just peeling them now. I'm going to break them up into little pieces, and I'm going to mash them together with a fork. So the first step is to mash down the bananas. I do have a tiny fork, so I do recommend finding a bigger masher, a bigger fork, anything that's bigger than what I'm using, because it does take forever to get the bananas into little mushy little bits. And you want to make sure your bananas are completely mushed down so that it can mix into the mixture completely and perfectly. Now that the bananas have been completely mashed down, I am now free to add in my next ingredient. So our first ingredient for this recipe is an egg, only 1 egg, so I'm going to mix that into the banana now and give it a good stir. For my next ingredient for this recipe, I needed to add about 50 grams of melted butter in. So I melted that down in the microwave and I poured it into my eggs and my mixture. I'm going to mix that again. Now that all my other ingredients have been mixed together, I can now finally add the batter in. This is the mixture that came with the Creative Nature packet, and I'm just going to give all of my ingredients a mix together now so it can make the final batter. Now to put our batter into the oven, you're going to need a good ceramic oven proof dish. So I have a small one here. It is the perfect size. It fits all of the batter in and it allows it to rise. So make sure you have one of those. I'm also going to spread it out throughout the dish so that it all is equal as well, just to prevent it being one-sided, one side raised and one side not. Once that is all settled, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven for 40 to 45 minutes. This is what it looked like when it came out of the oven. Honestly, perfect. Golden brown on the inside, it was nice and fluffy. It is one of my favourite gluten-free snacks. Banana bread is just so tasty. Again, I am going to use a knife to cut up some slices and I'm going to store it in an airtight container so that I can have it throughout the week. For our final recipe, we're going to be making some cupcakes. For our first ingredient, we're going to need some sugar. It is preferred to use caster sugar when you're baking instead of granulated sugar. With my sugar, I'm also going to mix in some melted butter, so I'm going to melt that down and mix them together. Now that it is melted, I'm going to pour it into my sugar and we're going to combine the two together. Now it's time to add in 1 egg, so I'm going to crack that into the batter and give it the mix together. For my next bit, I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to pour that into my mixture so that my cupcakes can taste a little bit of vanilla. For my last ingredient, I'm going to add 100 grams of self-raising flour so that my cupcakes can rise. Now that all of my ingredients are in the bowl, I'm going to give it one big mix so I can get my final batter and start to pour it into the cupcake cases so it's ready to bake. Now that all of my ingredients have been mixed together, I'm going to spoon them into the cupcake cases without hopefully spilling it on the table, but making sure that each cupcake case has at least half amount of batter in each case so that my cupcakes can rise a sufficient amount. Once this is done, I'm going to put it in the oven for at least 18 minutes. So my cupcakes can cook and they become nice and fluffy on the outside and nice and golden brown on the top. Here they are done. They are a little bit more brown than I expected, so I'm just going to put a little bit of icing on to cover it up. Nevertheless, it tasted still so gorgeous. They were still so fluffy on the inside and really sweet. So I definitely recommend trying out this recipe if you ever want to make some cupcakes, because why not? Cupcakes are so sweet and so delicious and definitely one of my favourite to-go snacks to make. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.